Hello everyone, this is Ola. Welcome to the third video of the muscle physiology. And here we will discuss the motor units and firing rate and how they are related to the muscle force. First of all, what do I mean by a motor unit? A motor unit is a single motor neuron, so a single nerve cell plus the muscle fibers or muscle cells innervated by that particular motor neuron. So if you look here at this image, the cell body in red color has its axon terminals supplying three different muscle cells. So this is a motor unit, and here the innervation ratio is 1:3. Of course, in real life, it's not like this, but this is for simplicity. The cell body here in green color has the axons supplying three other different muscle cells. So this is another motor unit. And here, the one in blue has its axon terminals supplying here two muscle cells. So here we have a third motor unit. If you look here at this image, you will find that the fibers belonging to a single motor unit are dispersed amongst the fibers of other units. So here, the fibers belonging to a single motor unit are not concentrated in one side of the muscle, they are rather distributed. So when a motor unit is active, what will happen is a weak contraction, but it's going to be a distributed contraction. It's not focused on a part of the muscle. It's going to involve all the muscle in general because the fibers are distributed through the muscle. The innervation ratio means how many fibers supplied by a single nerve cell. Muscles that require specificity or precise action, like your eyelid muscles or your finger muscles, they are kind of lead to fine movement. So they have lower innervation ratio. On the other hand, muscles that need power but less specific or less precise tasks have a higher number of fibers. So if you look here, you will find that the orbicularis oculi, which is a muscle that close the eyelid, has about 1:25 ratio because it's a muscle that does not require a force, but its action is precise. The muscles of the fingers, lumbricals, also they have a lower innervation ratio, 1 to about 100. On the other hand, a large muscle like brachioradialis or biceps, they have higher innervation ratio. So if you look here at the biceps, its innervation ratio is 1 to about 750, meaning one nerve cell supplies 750 muscle cells. Motor unit recruitment means that activating more motor units as we increase our muscle force. And this will lead to a stronger muscle contraction. So if you look at this, those are muscle cells of a skeletal muscle. And here we can see three types of muscle cells. The smallest in green, the medium size, and the brown ones here are in large size. So what will happen when you start contraction? You will start, for example, with a single motor unit. And again, this is for simplicity. So here we have this motor neuron supplies three muscle cells, and this leads to a kind of a weak contraction when you carry only 1 pound. Suppose that you want to do a stronger contraction to carry 2 pounds. What will happen is that in addition to this active uh, motor unit, you recruit another one. So here, another motor neuron gives its signals to the other muscle cells supplied by that individual motor neuron. So you are recruiting one more. How about if you want to do even a stronger contraction, like carrying 3 pounds, you will add motor units to be active. So more muscle fibers are going to be active and you will be having a stronger contraction. So here, you can see that a third motor unit is now active and the contraction becomes stronger. We have 3 types of muscle fibers. The slow oxidative ones, and they are aerobic. They need oxygen to work. That's why they have capillary and mitochondrial in higher number. So they have a dense network of capillaries and mitochondria. You know that the mitochondria is where oxygen is utilized. The force produced by the slow oxidative muscle fibers, type 1A, is low force, but they are resistant to fatigue. They can work for hours without being tired. So they are used for low force movements like walking. You can walk for hours using them. They do not get tired easily. If you compare them to the medium-sized muscle fibers that we call fast oxidative or glycolytic 2A, they are a mix of aerobic and anaerobic, so they can use both pathways, and they have an intermediate capillary and mitochondrial density because they do not rely mainly on oxygen. Their force production is high, so they have high force production, and they resist fatigue, but not as the slow oxidative. So we use them for moderate activity like moderate weight lifting. And here, the largest size that we call fast glycolytic or type 2X, they are anaerobic, so they do not use oxygen. That's why they do not have a dense capillary and mitochondrial network. They don't need a lot of mitochondria since they do not need oxygen. They are very strong. They have very high force production, but they become tired very quickly. They do not resist fatigue. So we use them for heavy weight lifting. So you are carrying large weight, but this does not require a lot of time. So it can last for half a minute, one minute, and they will become tired. However, they are very strong. When we recruit motor units, we begin with the slow oxidative muscle cells that resist fatigue. They are of low force but can work for a long time, and the neurons supplying them are having a small size. So suppose that you are starting to work out, you will begin recruiting the slow oxidative muscle cells. So here, the ones in a small size are active and they can stay working for hours, but again the force produced is low. So here you are having only 20% of your maximum force. Now you are starting to work out more strongly. So you will recruit the medium size or the fast glycolytic ones, the ones that are type 2A, fast oxidative glycolytic, the intermediate size ones, and now they are active. So now you will be having about 50% of your maximum force, but those resist fatigue in a less way than the slow oxidative one. They can get tired before the smaller size slow oxidative muscle cells. Suppose you want to do more work, then you will start recruiting the larger size fast glycolytic ones, the anaerobic ones, and they are supplied with a large size motor neuron. Now you can go up to your maximum force, but again, those ones, though they are very strong, but they get tired quickly. Okay, so now as we increase our muscle force, we recruit more motor unit. So here in this table, the amplitude means motor unit recruitment. And as you increase the force of contraction from 5% of your maximum force up to 1%, you can see that the amplitude or the motor unit recruitment increase gradually. How about the firing rate or the temporal summation? So firing rate means that instead of one motor unit having, for example, 30 stimuli in a second, they have more of that. They have 60 or 90 or 120. So here the motor unit, instead of working slowly, it's working faster. We call that firing rate or frequency stimulation. When you begin to work, you can see that your firing rate is about the same until you go to 20% of your maximum force, and then the firing rate starts to increase fast. So now we can conclude that we can increase our force of contraction by two important factors. The first one is motor unit recruitment. The second one is the firing rate increase or increasing the frequency of stimulation. So instead of your motor units working slowly, they are working faster. What is the difference between muscle endurance and muscle strength? Endurance means the ability of a muscle or group of muscles to sustain repeated contractions for an extended period of time. So you are working in your treadmill for an hour. It's a long time and you are doing repeated contractions. However, those contractions are not strong. So here you rely mainly on the aerobic respiration. So you are using your fast oxidative glycolytic or fast or oxidative glycolytic more than using the anaerobic fibers, the fast glycolytic. That's why if you have high endurance, you have dense capillary network and you will have an increased number of mitochondria that are able to utilize oxygen. On the other hand, the muscle strength, meaning that you are able to do your maximum force in a short time. So, for example, if you are carrying this heavy weight, and this happens in less than 1 minute, then you are having muscle strength. So here you are reducing a single maximum effort, not a repeated effort with low force. And here the fibers that are mostly active are the anaerobic ones, the ones that we call fast glycolytic. So you are having more of those in comparison to having the slow oxidative or fast oxidative glycolytic. So now you will not be having more mitochondria in comparison to people with high endurance. And as you use those large fiber muscles, you develop hypertrophy, meaning you will develop more muscle mass. So people are different when it comes on that, and this sometimes is depending on genetics and also to the type of training. So people who are runners are likely to have more of the oxidative fibers in comparison to people who are able to carry weight. They are having more of those fast glycolytic fibers, the anaerobic ones. So if you have somebody with large muscle mass, maybe he is genetically having more fast glycolytic fibers, and also he has more training to carry weight. If you see a runner, those people are likely to have more oxidative fibers, and they have more fibers of the oxidative glycolytic fibers, the aerobic ones. Now with some review questions. All the muscle fibers under the control of a single motor axons are referred to as, we call that, motor unit. In the biceps muscle, each motor unit controls more or less amount of muscle fibers than a motor unit in the eye muscles. Of course, the biceps is a larger muscle. It needs more force that is less precise. So here we have more innervation ratio. What is the muscle fiber type that would help in each of the following activities? Running. Running here, you need the muscle fibers that resist fatigue but produce less force, and they are the slow oxidative fibers, the ones with more mitochondria and high dense capillaries. The shot put, here you need a work that is strong in a short time. So here you need your fast glycolytic fibers. Long distance swimming. So here you don't need to get tired quickly, but this is not an action that requires big force. So here you need the slow oxidative fibers. Dunking a basketball. This is one action that needs a strong force. So here you need your fast glycolytic fibers.